The Indianapolis Colts coming into the 2020 NFL season were viewed as a team that they were kind of interesting. They did not have zero expectations, but at the same time, they did not have expectations to be an absolute contender. And this team is pretty interesting to me. Currently, they sit at 5-3, which is good for second in the AFC South. And today, I want to talk about the Indianapolis Colts and how good they are as a team. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. But before we do get started with today's video, please click the like button if you guys did enjoy it, as it really helps out the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers. It would be greatly appreciated if we could reach that goal. As if you're a fan of the NFL or the NBA and you like the videos on this channel, please click the subscribe button. I will be doing a Q&A when we reach 100 subscribers. So if you guys like this type of content and you guys want to learn more about me and you guys are new, click the subscribe button, as there's videos like this already on the channel, and there will be more in the future. And with all of that being said though, you guys, let's get this thing started. And I'm going to start things off by talking about this Indianapolis Colts roster. And we're going to first start off with the quarterback, which is Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers, it's safe to say, has regressed to a game-managing average quarterback anyways. And even then, Philip Rivers has still remained solid for the Colts, as he's thrown for 2,087 yards and has had a completion percentage of 68%, and he's tossed 10 touchdowns. The Indianapolis' run-first offense really helped Philip Rivers, as the guy's aging and he is prone to causing turnovers to occur, but the run-first offense really helped him, as it took off the pressure and allowed him to really just relax and not have as much pressure on him. With the Chargers last year, the offensive line was not as good, so because of that, they couldn't really take off all the pressure off of him. And I think Indianapolis' offensive line really helps out Philip Rivers. Overall, while the guy is not a top quarterback in the league, the guy is still a pretty okay quarterback. Next up, we got to talk about Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor has been pretty good for the Colts, as he's rushed for 416 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he's averaged 4 yards a run. And he's a nice, good young running back. Coming into the NFL season, people had some pretty nice expectations for him, and people thought he was a great pickup. And he really has proved that so far. Now, Marlon Mack being out for the year definitely helped his touches increase, but even then, I still think Jonathan Taylor is a very good running back, and I think he will be the future running back for Indianapolis in the future. Anyways, the next guy I want to talk about is Michael Pittman Jr. Michael Pittman Jr. has struggled with injuries this year, as have many players. However, I think the guy still has good potential, as so far in the limited playing time he's had 135 yards and has had a catch percentage of just 70%, but that's only due to, well, the lack of games being played. So because of that, his numbers look a little bit more impressive in the catch percentage. Well, with all that being said though, he's still a very good receiver, and I still think he has a lot of potential as a good big body receiver, as he stands at 6'4", who can grab tough catches and do stuff like that. And next up, I want to talk about T.Y. Hilton. Now, T.Y. Hilton is not the same player he used to be, as he's regressed quite a bit, unfortunately, due to injuries. However, T.Y. Hilton is still a solid receiver. So far, he's at 251 yards on the year so far. However, he has been catching only 56% of his targets. Even then, T.Y. Hilton is still a very solid receiver, and I think when he's healthy, he's not that bad of a player. And next up, I want to talk about two very good tight ends on this team. The first guy I want to talk about is Jack Doyle, who's been having a solid year, as he's had 2 touchdowns and 108 yards. He really helps this offense, as Indianapolis runs a lot of 2 tight end sets, which really helps the run first offense, and the guy can also catch. Next up, the next player I want to talk about is Mo Alley-Cox. Mo Alley-Cox is a very good tight end, and I feel like some people have not been talking about this guy enough, as he's been having a breakout year, as he's had 274 yards and 2 touchdowns. The guy is a very good player, and I think he will be a great tight end for the Colts in the future, as Jack Doyle is starting to age, but even then, Mo Alley-Cox is still an amazing player. Next up, we're going to get things started with their defense. Their defense is very good. Now, the first player I want to talk about is DeForest Buckner, who they acquired from the 49ers in the offseason. He was a great pickup for them, as the guy's had 2.5 sacks, a forced fumble, and he's forced 13 pressures. The guy's a very good pass rusher who contributes a lot to this defense, and contributes a lot, especially to this front 7. The next guy I want to talk about is Justin Houston, who I feel like is very underrated. Now, This is not the same Kansas City Justin we saw before. However, the guy has still been very solid. And last year, he especially had a really solid year as he had double-digit sacks, and so far the guy's had 3.5 sacks and 11 pressures. I think the guy's a great veteran leader, and he's also contributing well on the football field too. So overall, I think Justin Houston's a very good player that contributes to this Indianapolis Colts team. Next up, we got to talk about arguably their best player, who I'd probably say is their best player, in Darius Leonard, who I would also say is the best linebacker in the NFL. The guy's one of the best defensive players in the NFL, and so far he's had 2 passes defended and a sack, plus a forced fumble. The guy is a very good linebacker who can pressure the quarterback, and he's also good in coverage, and he's, I'd argue, the best player on the Colts, as I said before. Overall, I don't have to spend too much time on Darius Leonard, as he's a very good player. Next up, we got Anthony Walker, who's also a very solid player despite having a down year. And then we also got to talk about guys like Kenny Moore, who's a very solid cornerback. So far, the guy's had 2 interceptions, one which he returned for a touchdown, along with 7 passes defended. The guy contributes well to the secondary. And the final guy I want to talk about on this Indianapolis Colts roster is Xavier Rhodes. Xavier Rhodes is really having a bounce back year, and he's a very solid corner, as so far he's had 2 interceptions and 9 passes defended. Last year, Xavier Rhodes really regressed, and I feel like Indianapolis' scheme really helps him, as he did state that he was better in zone coverage and he thought the man coverage scheme was not great for him. But with all that being said, now I want to talk about this team. How good are they? Now, personally, I think they have a pretty solid offense and a pretty solid defense, and they aren't that bad of a team. They got some nice weapons, an average game manager quarterback who's still very passable, a good offensive line, a good defense, and to me, this team's floor is something like 9-7 or 8-8. And while that isn't good, that still isn't horrible, as that's a pretty average record. And if you ask me, this team could be as good as 11-5, and I think they'll finish out the season somewhere around 10-6 or 11-5, and I think they'll be the 5th seed in the AFC now that it's the middle of the season, and that's my mid-season predictions. Anyways, I think they'll probably face a wild card exit, unfortunately. However, I do think they can make it past the wild card round and into the divisional round, and just maybe they can make the AFC Championship game. But even then, I still think Indianapolis is just a mere dark horse team. But even then, they're still a very good team, as they got a solid offense and a pretty good defense. Plus, with all of that being said, that's going to be the end of today's video. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, please click the like button, as it really helps out the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers, and it would be greatly appreciated if we could reach that goal, as I will also be doing a Q&A when we reach the 100 subscribers. So if you guys are a fan of the NFL or the NBA, and you guys want to learn more about me, and you like this type of content, click the subscribe button. With all that being said though, you guys, I'm out, you guys.